Hello, welcome to the Ginger and Chocolate Podcast. I'm Lindsay, and I'm flying solo this week because Mike is traveling for work. But I have a special guest, Amy, who, if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, you will remember her from way back in the day. We talked about yoga, and Amy is back on the show. How's it going, Amy?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me back.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going
Good,
to
me
talk
too.
about some fun. Well, I don't know if it's called fun, but we're going to talk about some important things today. I think we are talking about taking care of yourself when you don't feel good physically. And for me, I think right now, the time that we're in this world is making me a little physically exhausted, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
I do.
So tell us, because I know recently you had some stuff crop up. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, we did that really fun gravel bike adventure in Montana. We did that together with a group of friends, which was
Yeah.
awesome. And physically, I mean, it was quite an output. I think I was thinking about our stats. I think we did like 250 miles. And do you know what our elevation climb was? I don't know, something like
It was a lot. I don't know how
20,000.
much, but it was a lot.
Yeah. But anyways, but it was a great, I felt like we trained up for it and it was still challenging, but that was a lot. And then I had some more travel after that. I was, went from straight from Montana to a wedding in Chicago. And then it was like the trifecta. Then I went to, my childhood home where I grew up, where I have all kinds of memories and experiences. I went there with my siblings. We went to celebrate my dad's 85th birthday, which was really special. But I think just being physically exhausted and exhilarated, I think those things can go hand in hand. And then to go into just like a family environment and like the food was heavy and lots of food. And I think my system, I wish it weren't, but I'm sensitive to what I eat. And then I started, on the last day there, I had a cold, didn't feel great, got on the airplane to come home. I was like, this is not good. I do not feel well. Came home and we were having house guests like the next day. Dell, my husband, said, you should test for COVID because, one of my friends who was coming into town, yeah, she's kind of immunocompromised. So we just wanted to
Yeah.
be really, careful and considerate. So test for COVID, big old positive. You
Oh,
are positive for COVID. Yeah.
hmm.
So, being over 50 and also not only, so I canceled those house guests, but the following weekend we had, the Grateful Dead came and did a big concert in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
And we are also hosting for that event. So my doctor recommended that I get on Paxlovid, the
Hmm.
antiviral, which I did. And I, secluded myself in my room for 5 days, which I don't even know what the current protocol is. Actually, I did look it up. I think it's 3 days, but I did 5. My doctor said 3. And went to the concerts. This is a long answer to your short question,
No,
but
I
went
want
to
to
the
hear the story.
concerts. Okay, okay. Went to the concerts, just went all out. It was in Golden Gate Park, Grateful Dead and Billy Strings and Sturgill Simpson. Super fun, big family, dancing. Hey, when was that? That was at the end of July, first week of August. And I could not recover.
Hmm.
For like 2 months, I couldn't
Wow.
recover. I was exhausted and I just had never been that sick for that long. And I was trying to figure out like what was the root cause? Was it the COVID? Was it the travel? Was it the exertion from the gravel bike trip? Was it PTSD from being back in Indiana?
Family.
With my family? Was it kind of a mix of all of those things? And I think I've just spent the last almost 3 months just, exploring and trying to figure it out and trying different things. But Lindsay, I've just never been so exhausted. Yeah. And it's kind of nice. Like when people ask me, Amy, how are you? I would just tell the truth and be like, I'm beat. I don't know what's going on. I'm exhausted. Yeah.
I remember seeing you during that time. I mean, I
Uh,
see you often, and I remember seeing you during that time, and you were definitely like less energy than your normal self and missing
mm,
things, I think, like with girlfriends that you normally wouldn't you'd be able to
right.
come do.
Right.
And you were just
Yeah.
like, I can't do it. I can't leave the
Yeah.
house right now or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was long COVID because I had long COVID
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
2021. And it lasted. I mean, I know some people have it for like a year or 2 years. Mine was like 3.5 months. And it was for that same thing of like, I had no energy. My fever kept coming back. That was one thing. And then my chest stuff kept coming back. So I'd feel a little better. And then I would do one thing, like go
Yeah.
for a hike or something. And then that would take everything out of me. So I can kind of relate, but I didn't do all of the self care things that you did. I just kept powering through, to going to work every day and working long hours and then being like, I've got a fever again and like just falling apart. So I want to learn from you a little bit about taking care of yourself and, because with something like this, you can't really control it.
Right. And I do know people that have had long COVID, and I keep calling what I had long enough COVID.
Yeah.
And I also, we have friends who have had various viruses and have had a really hard time recovering, and it can turn into a chronic illness. And I've been really afraid of that. I was scared enough to, not that people have control over it. I don't really know. I do feel like I've pulled out of the worst of it, but I have friends that have suffered for years and years and years. And I would say those are, one of the things that I did for my care is because I was just so scared of this lasting. And so I reached out and I made phone calls and I asked people. It gave me a lot of empathy. Like, I think I know what you've been going through. When you say you're too tired to have dinner, that's how I feel right now. So I really felt like I could relate. And the other thing, it's interesting. I was listening to this podcast. Did I share with you the Hidden Brain podcast that I
I
listened
think you
to?
did, but I haven't listened to it
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. It's an interesting podcast. NPR puts it out, and it's about kind of our subconscious and unconscious behaviors that our
Hmm.
brains kind of click into without us really consciously even knowing why we do something. So, like why we react the way we react. And this hidden brain was around getting constructive criticism or getting direction from people or professionals or friends. The idea being that often, we can't see our own stuff. And so someone else, and especially when we're asking for help, they can kind of see us and they may give us direction or advice or even constructive criticism. But for some reason, like what is it in our brains that resists that and doesn't do that good, orderly direction?
Yes, I
So
relate to that. Definitely.
me too, man. Me too. It's cool to listen to the podcast. Say, oh, this is kind of a normal human condition, and why do we do this? And I think the theory, and that's also based. The podcast is interesting. It's based on scientific evidence, which I appreciate, and then also kind of just pragmatic, applicable experiences, people's kind of storytelling and experiences. But that when people do these things, their lives get better. They grow better. And so again, I was so desperate and fearful, just feeling horrible that when I reached out to these friends and told them how I was feeling and asked them what their experiences and what they've done, I tried to really listen and,
Hmm.
and actually do the thing.
Right.
And it's kind of basic things like, hydration.
Hmm.
Are you drinking enough? I got a lot of advice to have more salt.
Hmm.
And, I had seen a heart doctor like 4 years ago because when I was training up for triathlon, I was having like heart palpitations and some weird stuff with my heart rate. And I think I saw three doctors, including a specialist. And the specialist doctor, the heart doctor said maybe I was having some acid reflux. And when he said
Mm.
it, I was paying thousands of dollars to hear him say it. I remembered that my last two doctors had said that. And so got acid reflux and I could take an over the counter medication
Uh,
help. So anyway, hydrate and also this doctor said I needed more salt in my diet. So it's like someone starting to click. It's like, I was dehydrated, I could use more salt, might be having acid reflux again.
mhm.
Um, that's the first thing I did was asking friends. The second thing I did was I just made a doctor's appointment and went to go
Uh-huh.
to the local doctor down the street, nothing fancy, but got in and just told her my symptoms. And of course, she gave me the one sheet on COVID. I was like, tick, tick,
Uh-huh.
all the COVID.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize
So it
that.
was, anyway, yeah.
So you did doctor, you did friends, and you started
I did
hydrating?
doctor friends, hydrating, talked to my family about it. My brother has this place called Restore Hyper Wellness, and he invited me to come down and do that. I mentioned to the hyperbaric chamber,
Mhm.
which is an interesting
So what is that? Like, what
method.
happens with that?
Yeah. It's really so you go into a chamber, a little chamber. Sometimes they're quite small. I was afraid I was going to feel claustrophobic.
You
And
standing, sitting, laying
you
down?
set you lay down. It's kind of like a nest. Like you get into a nest, they zip you in. You've got a radio. There's a nurse. So there is a registered nurse at his facility. And I think wherever they do the hyperbaric chambers, there's a nurse present, I
Nurse, yeah.
believe, or a trained person. It's basically like a pressure cooker. It's a pressurized environment, and you breathe in pure oxygen. So they put oxygen under your
Oh.
nose, and I think that's the idea, is that it kind of pushes oxygen into your system, into the red blood
Okay.
cells or your tissues. It's been shown to reduce inflammation and good for wound healing, good for athletic recovery. I know
Mhm.
people that are long distance runners will often go in there. And I did a little research before I went in because I was like, what kind of witchcraft is this? And it's recommended, I think the CDC's approved it and the Mayo Clinic has like a page on it. So yeah, it's been shown to make a difference. So I did a couple of those
Did you get sleepy in
sessions.
there or did you just sit in there and I mean, how did you feel
I
overall?
probably listened to one of your podcasts. I had to kind of calm myself down, because it feels, they bring it up to pressure, and you can't just hop out if you change your mind. Like they got to
Uh-huh.
slowly decompress you.
Oh,
Yeah, but people love it. People listen to music. My brother goes in there and like does work on his computer.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So my brother treated me to that, and I also got IVs, like hydration IVs, and some vitamins, and I'm not sure what they put in that. Vitamin C. I did some vitamin B. And
I've
this,
had some
yeah.
IV.
Have you? Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
How
did
was
it.
that?
It was interesting, like, did it in Reno because we went to
Right. Oh yeah.
Tahoe and we're like, we're so dehydrated and whatever. So did it in Reno. And I don't know what I wanted. I think I wanted something magical to happen. I just didn't have a headache later from being, fully hydrated, which
Right, right, right. That's good.
yeah, I wake up with headaches a lot because I'm dehydrated. I woke up and I felt pretty good, which was nice up in the altitude, but I
Yeah.
wanted some sort of magic to happen and there was no real magic. I got vitamins going.
The best I felt actually with when I was doing the hyperbaric chamber was then going into the infrared sauna. Have you done one of
I
those?
haven't done one of those.
That was nice too. It was
Mm,
interesting because you go in and it doesn't feel hot. There's red light, infrared light. And so I don't know how this works, but I think it heats you up from the inside. And then
wow.
there's just this moment where you just break a sweat. And it elevated my heart rate. So I think it's almost like a pseudo workout. Like you get some of the benefits
Huh.
like from working out, which was really nice because I love to work out. I mean, I love to I feel so good when I'm working out and breaking a sweat. And I hadn't for 6 weeks
Mhm.
at the time of doing that. So I just like, it was like, oh, it felt so good to do that, to do the
I'm
infrared
just thinking about
sauna.
how could I get one of those here so that on the days where I'm like too tired from work to work out, I can just go flop into the sauna instead.
Right. We got to have one in town.
Mhm.
I would imagine there's an infrared sauna. And you and I were talking. I think there's also a hyperbaric chamber, or someone downtown has one here where we live.
Maybe I'll try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you feel after all of that? Did it change?
I felt it was felt like a treat. Like I don't normally treat myself to those kinds of things. There's of course an expense involved, and so that felt good to take the time to do that. And I think when I came home, I was down in Santa Barbara. I think when I came home, I was also committed to it. Like, I think it hydrated me and got me in a place where I could just rest in a deeper way. So I also got committed. Someone recommended going to bed at a regular time and watching my sleep.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to that and actually do it. Yeah, I think I slept better. Also, I wear my monitor. Sometimes I wear an Aura ring.
Mm-hmm.
I had lost it, but I was committed. I'm like, I'm going to find that thing and put it on. And the first day, my first reading, I think I told you this, was like, go back to bed. You're not fit to do anything
That's
today.
right.
So it's kind of shocking, but validating at the same time because I was like, that's exactly how I feel. I feel exhausted.
I love the feedback. I wear a watch that has one that's tied to Fitbit, and I do love when I wake up and I feel like I feel drained and horrible. I do like that to look and go, oh well, you slept horribly. You got 5 hours of sleep out of 8 or 9. You legitimately aren't. Your battery is on low. It's like, oh, okay, I can be more gentle with myself now than
And
just
at
get
this,
up and do it. You're lazy. It's like I'm actually burned out.
and when it says, okay, you're good to go, your readiness score is higher. I feel like, all right, Amy, time to get your butt out there and go walk, maybe jog a little. I do like to exercise, but it's hard to get me going and I can fall out of it. It's kind of where I'm at now. When I get out of the routine, yeah, it's hard to get myself motivated. Sometimes the data, it's good to have, like, okay, you're good to go. Get back out there.
Right, right. It
Yeah.
is it is
Yeah.
hard when you fall off to get back into working out sometimes.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
I definitely have had that with my running. Like I'm super excited to run and I've shared that on this show and I have a couple things I'm going to be doing. But some days I like wake up and I'm like I just want to stay in bed a little longer or I've been going to that 7 a.m. meeting, so I'm like I want to go to a meeting and then I've got work right after that. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, well
Don't you
maybe I'll go
do
at lunch.
don't you do your workout? Do you have a 5:30 a.m. workout that you're doing?
Mhm. That
Yeah.
it's one of those things where that I'm going to, like,
Okay.
religiously. So I pop out
Because
of bed at 5 and I go do that workout. It fits into my schedule and I just do it. It's like if I got out of practice of doing that, I could see just blowing it off, but I'm in the flow of doing it. But the other things like running or riding or whatever, I'm not in the flow of doing those. And so, like you're saying, it's hard to get like, oh, okay,
yeah.
just go start walking and then you can start running or just,
Yeah. Yeah. And
so,
it's good to be scheduled or, a commitment with a friend. I know we've talked a lot about that. Or I'm training right now for a half marathon. I think it's mid-November, November 16th, and it's like the city to see, I think, something like that. And yeah, it's been nice training, just having that commitment. Hey, let's run on Thursdays and Sundays. I think that's the current commitment with the family.
nice.
Yeah. So it helps get me out there, although
Hmm.
I've been slacking. Because I think I am pretty much recovered, but I don't think I'm completely out of the woods.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, paying
Having that
attention.
having that downtime, but not be having quote unquote downtime, but it's not downtime because you're not your normal self. I don't find it to be rest. I don't necessarily find it to be restful. So I can come out of being sick. And even though I've slept a million hours, it still takes me a while to actually get back to wanting to, have the energy to do all the things I like to do.
Yeah.
You
Have
probably
you?
still, you're probably
Yeah,
still a little bit in that.
I may be. Yeah, I've been like doing percentages. I'm like, I don't know, I'm close. I'm like 90, I'm like up to 90%. So that's pretty
That's
good.
good.
How about you were saying you were feeling really tired. Did you pull out of that? You're feeling really fatigued.
I have not pulled out of it.
Okay.
What I have done is told my doctor because it's been pretty intense the last few weeks. My sleep hasn't been great, but even on the nights when I've had decent enough sleep, where in the past that would have been fine, I've just been exhausted all day and it just feels so deep exhaustion. So so Josh was getting blood tests done and just going to like a Quest and getting them done because he wanted to do a little experiment and take some measurements of himself. And Kaiser won't let you to do them like every month for 6 months, or they just won't do that. Right. So he wanted to do it. And so he said, well, he ordered me some tests and I went and took them. And then I got back the test. There were 6 things that were out of the normal range. My cholesterol and my LDL cholesterol, which was weird. My red blood cell count is lower than the lowest range, bottom of the range. And let's see, those are three. A thing called ALT, which is your liver function, that was really high, way above the range. So the top of the range is 36, and I was at a 26, and I was at a 38. And there was a couple other things.
Did they check your A1?
They have not, but Kaiser has been
Okay.
checking that because of
Okay.
being the pre-diabetic. But
Right.
I've shared on here about peptides, and I lost weight, and I went from that 6.2 and some change down to 0.4. So I'm
Oh,
no longer even pre-diabetic.
great.
I'm not even close.
Wow.
Isn't
Okay.
that amazing? Yeah, I'm super
That's
excited about that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
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 I have a
So I'm
friend
very happy
who's
about that.
pre-diabetic. We were just talking about it. Yeah. I was encouraging her to talk to her doctor
Yeah. Yeah. It made
about
a
it.
huge difference.
That's great.
So I sent the results to my doctor and I was like, I did these tests. Not even sure if they're the right tests, but there are 6 things
Mm-hmm.
that are out of whack. And he wrote back and was like, okay, well, I don't feel like this is a complete picture. So I ordered you a bunch of, so now I need to go over to Kaiser and take more blood. I just needed to
Oh,
go get it.
good. Okay. Yeah, get that done. I also did that. My doctor recommended a full blood panel and tested for everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much for mine, everything was in the normal range. I
Good.
actually have a high LDL, but I think that's good. My cholesterol overall was high, but I
Hmm.
think that's because my LDL was so high and my
That's what I have.
LDL was on. Yeah. No,
High
sorry, my HDL was high, which
Yeah.
is the good one.
I got the LDL.
Okay, yeah, that's not the good one.
No.
I mean, I don't really know, but that's according to my doctor.
That's what I hear on Instagram.
That's right. I did ask. Because I always think HDL is like the high one that should be bad, but that's actually the good one.
H for healthy.
H for healthy, good. Well, good. I'm glad you're getting more blood work done, and it sounds like.
But he doesn't really think he's going to find much in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that I switched from the CPAP to a dental appliance for my sleep apnea.
Right.
And he thinks that the dental appliance isn't doing a good enough job.
Okay.
So I have a CPAP. I'm going to try it again. It's the dental appliance is more comfortable because there's no hose coming out of the front of your face.
Yeah, it sounds way better. Easier to
But
travel with.
it is easier to travel with, and it's easier to have your partner in bed with you, which Josh
Right.
and I don't sleep in the same bed most of the time, but when we travel, we do. And, I always
Sure.
had this hose, like, I'm turning over and hitting him with a hose. But I will say the other piece of it is that this dental appliance pushes your lower jaw forward. That's how it's keeping your windpipe open. And my jaw is sore every day
Mm-hmm.
from that. And my bite's changing a little bit. And my dentist was like, this thing's not good for you. Your bite's like all off and blah, blah, blah. So I've been getting some signs from medical
Mm-hmm.
professionals that I should be using my CPAP. So I'm going to try it and just, if I have to go back, sleep apnea is no joke.
That's right. That's right. I remember you talking about how much better you felt, like life changing.
And I kind of feel like I did pre CPAP. You know what I mean? It was just
Okay.
exhausted, dragging around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once he said that, I was like, I have experienced this feeling before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it
That's
was,
kind of what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard about the acid reflux. Because when I went to my doctor and told her my symptoms, especially that because I was having like my heart rate felt elevated or not elevated, just felt like a loud pounding. I'd feel it when I went to bed at night. And she was like, "Oh, you were here in 2022, and these are the symptoms," and it was similar. So I think that's also part of the protocol that I've been on is just taking the daily ant whatever the pill for acid reflux. Yeah. Yeah, which I've heard can, if you take it soon enough, like if you let it go for too long, it can become chronic. But if you
really?
take it soon enough, yeah, I think there's like your esophagus, there's an esophageal sphincter. It's like this little muscle at the top of the esophagus, and it can get inflamed. And
Well,
if
that
you
sounds
take that
horrible.
medicine, it sounds horrible, doesn't it? But if it gets inflamed, it's like when you lay down or anything, if there's any kind of like just stomach acid anywhere near it, it sends these like warning signals to your body, to your heart, to your brain, and it almost presents like anxiety. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
really just the body freaking out, like, "We need to take care of this."
Huh.
As I understand it, this is from my doctor, that yeah, if you address it and take, they have lots of over the counter medications. CVS has a whole section. You realize what a an
Yeah.
uncommon problem it is. You take a 14-day dose or a 30-day dose, it usually goes away. But if it doesn't, people have to go on it for a long time, rest of their lives sometimes. I know people that
Holy
take
cow.
it. Yeah, yeah. So, but
Well, I'm
hopefully
gonna
that's
try to avoid that.
yeah, and hopefully, it's like if it is the CPAP, that would be that's better than having something wrong with your blood.
Right. Definitely. And
Yeah.
my mom, so sleep apnea does they know it does all these horrible things to your body because lack of oxygen really is harmful to your organs. And when you're supposed to be recovering, like we get into REM sleep and deep sleep for a reason. You can't if your sleep apnea is not being treated because your windpipe collapses on itself. And
Yeah.
then you have to wake up because you're not getting oxygen. So you never
Yeah,
really
your
get full
body's
recovery.
right protecting you.
But my stepfather died of glioblastoma, which is a really aggressive, gnarly, untreatable brain tumor. And my mom donates to like research for glioblastoma because it is currently a death sentence. Like if you get it, you're dead. No, they can do surgery and they can give you steroids to prolong life, but you're not going to live. You're not going to outlive this thing. They did the surgery. They didn't do, yeah, they did a surgery. They did steroids. They did treatment, and he lived 15 months, which is extra long. It's long for someone with glioblastoma to live that long. At the same time, my stepfather had it. A woman in the program over in Palo Alto, her husband was diagnosed. Her husband was diagnosed like maybe like 2 weeks after my stepfather, and he was dead in 6 weeks. And he was an ultra distance runner, super healthy guy, like vegetarian, like super healthy guy. But one of the things my mom donates to does all this research, and they are starting to connect sleep apnea with glioblastoma because they don't know what causes the glioblastoma. So they're starting to connect those two. And so my mom also has sleep apnea. She's like, I hate wearing this thing, but I do not want to get that.
That's
And I'm
right.
like, and you
Wow.
can almost feel it. It's like I feel exhausted. My brain is exhausted. I have
Mm-hmm.
that deep feeling, and it's like I could see how
Mm.
my brain would just
Mm-hmm.
be like, I'm making a
Mm-hmm.
tumor right now. Like I don't know what's happening. I can't, I
Yikes.
could,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
my brain felt really tired too. That was the first time that had ever happened to me. That freaked me out. Like I couldn't take in information. I couldn't really listen to things in my AirPods. I just needed to be quiet. Yeah. So,
it's a weird
yeah,
feeling.
if you're feeling it. So have you gotten back on the machine?
No, I'm gonna do it tonight. Tonight's my first day.
Okay.
He
Okay,
told me
good.
2 days
Yeah.
ago, and I was like, okay, I got to do
Mm,
it. I got to go get the
yeah.
distilled water and blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna do it.
So, do you have the machines like developed? Like, are they getting less intrusive? Are they
Still a hose going to your face. Like I have a new machine. It's nice. It's sleeker
okay?
looking. It's smaller, but the hose
Okay.
is the same hose because it needs to blow a certain amount of air. Because
Uh-huh.
what it's doing is it's blowing enough air so that when your windpipe collapses, it just stays open.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
it's kind of like this. Like when you get into deep sleep, your brain gives out a signal for your muscles to all relax, except for muscles that you need, like your lungs, your heart,
Yeah, of
and
course.
your air path is one of those things that's not supposed to relax, but it's getting the same message that like your limbs are getting. So it just collapses on itself because it's like, oh, relax time.
Huh.
And so the CPAP basically blows air in there so that it's just holding it open.
Yeah.
It's gonna never, I mean, the CPAP's never gonna be like too
Not
streamlined with
blowing
that air
air.
because it has
Yeah.
like the whole way it works is
That's
blowing
the whole
this air
point.
in there. But so then they have the dental, and if you have a certain level of sleep apnea, they will not even give you that. And I think, it's something that like as my mom has aged, hers has gotten worse. So I wonder if just over the last couple of years, mine has gotten worse and now the dental appliance isn't working. And then
Mhm.
they just made an implant.
Right. I was wondering about that. We have a friend who went for a consult. She's like, I'm getting the implant, I'm getting the surgery, but she didn't qualify for it. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
what that's.
I know who you're
You have to
talking
have
about.
certain, yeah, yeah, you have to have certain conditions, I think. Yeah, because we know people that, I know a handful of people that started using a CPAP and their lives just drastically improved. Actually, my husband, yeah, I think because I was asking you about it, and he got tested, and he's kind of like borderline. So we got the machine, we got it home. We rented it. I don't know how many. It was really expensive for some reason. Anyway, we got it home, and he was like, "That thing is so big," and he never took it out of the box for like 2 months. I ended up returning it. He's like, "I won't do
Oof.
it," but he was kind of on the border line, but he was feeling tired and stuff also. It's
Yeah.
interesting, this like fatigue. I think it's not uncommon. I mean, you're talking about like what's going on in the world, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
fear, you know,
It's all of this stuff, fear,
it's
outrage,
exhausting.
anger. It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah,
There's,
and like fire and viruses. I mean, we do. It's interesting with this whole COVID thing, and it's almost like that's been so politicized, unfortunately. But there are viruses that we share. And I almost, when you said you were feeling exhausted, I think I said to you, I wonder if you just had what I had,
that's a possibility too.
whether it's COVID or some kind of virus that's just feels exhausting. And then the other piece, maybe I'll mention, is that it was really hard for me mentally to, it's hard with certain obligations, and I'm not working full time anymore, but just household and other obligations. It's hard to stand down from that stuff and feel like, come on, Amy, you can go to the store, can't you? Like, it's so, but my brain, I was just so tired, and it's hard not to get down on myself and start to feel like, um yeah, just get really critical.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm lazy or not doing enough, or, not producing. It was really hard for me mentally just to rest. So,
Yeah. Well,
mhm.
I have a huge issue rest. I have a hard time. It's tied to my sense of self-worth. Like I kind of grew up in an environment where if you weren't doing something, you know, you weren't really worth anything. And it
Mm,
wasn't even like someone was saying you're not worth anything. Like I feel
no,
like
it's
my
like runs
mom is,
deep.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It's really deep.
It's not intellectual. It's like you can intellectually be like, okay, I'm sick and,
Right.
have a job. But yeah, it's like this deep wiring, really deep. It's like you got to be out there.
And in my industry, there's like a sort of culture of working a lot of hours. Like a lot of accountants are like, oh, I work 80 hours a week as if that's something to be proud of. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
you don't have a life. So outside of work, which is, I don't know, is that a point of, pride? But this is a culture in public accounting is to, work long hours. So if you stop and take a nap in the middle of the day or take care of yourself or leave on
Hmm.
time or whatever, there can be this sort of like, I'm not really doing the thing. At the same time, at my age, I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to work 80. Like, I shouldn't have to. It's ridiculous. So I kind of battle because there's part of me that's like, you can take care of yourself and you don't need to work yourself to death. Like, for what? And then there's this
Yeah.
other part of me like, you're not good enough if you don't work yourself to death. So,
And the part is too, when we finally do rest and we feel better, when we feel better, we do better. And then we're
yeah.
available to work harder and show up in the world and be of service and do the things that, are ultimately better.
Hmm.
So yeah, just that's a little bit of a hard one to recognize in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not feeling great.
Self care is difficult. It can
Hmm.
be. Some people
It
are
can
great at
be.
it.
Uh-huh.
I was good at it when I thought self care was like getting my nails done.
Right? I know, totally different thing. And it's funny. I think, the young people, Gen Alpha, or maybe it's Gen Z, they can kind of shake their heads at the whole self-care thing because I think our
Mhm.
generation, we're talking about it, but also we were raised in a different era where it was like you got to go out there and hustle and you got to work hard and support yourself and just don't stop. Don't accept help and don't rely on other people. I mean, that
Right.
was a big message as a young woman for me. Don't rely on anyone. You
Right.
can do it yourself. But I think they kind of laugh at this whole self-care thing, but we're in recovery from our childhood and our young adulthood. I think they have like a
100%.
slightly different perspective. And some of them are
Yeah.
like, they say it's self-care, but it isn't. What I've seen, the younger generation, some millennials and Gen Z, is there can be an indulgence there, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
Right? It's not, no, it's not calling in sick when you're not sick to go,
Right.
I don't know, like go have your spa day.
Right. Like, that's fun, and you could do that, but
Right,
that's not the self-care we're
right.
talking about,
We're
Gen
talking
Xers.
about, right, like eating 3 meals and it's, getting a good night's sleep and,
They didn't really have I feel like younger generations, they've got their own challenges, like, look at I mean,
fair.
politically and in the world, I didn't feel as unsafe as I do now, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
even if it wasn't perfectly safe, I did not feel the way I feel now, I f but it's funny because, the younger generations were raised by Gen Xers, and we were treated like children should be seen and not heard. Here's a latchkey kid, you just go home, put on
Right.
your
Drink out of
tangy
the
clothes,
hose,
drink
go
it
play
yeah,
outside, don't come home before dinner,
yeah,
you
don't
know?
just get out there, and
Just get out there, yeah. Well, I mean, I helicoptered a little. I tried not to, but I wanted to offer my kids what it was that I thought that I didn't
didn't
have and
have, yeah,
needed, and so, yeah, I was always kind of catering to them until, yeah, kinda kicked me in the butt, and I realized that wasn't such a great strategy.
yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a better strategy than being like, your value is I mean, because I felt like my opinions or whatever were completely devalued when I was a child. Like, if
Mm,
I had a thought or something and tried to express it, it was like, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, you're a child."
mhm.
So, I guess the helicoptering is also not it's the pendulum swings too far to the other
Yeah,
side, but it's
yeah.
still better in a lot of ways, and I can think of, when I had this long and treacherous journey with my children growing up, but once I was sober and we got it together, um, I remember treating them in a certain way and being told by external forces, let's say,
Mhm.
being critical of me for not like not punishing, but for being
Setting
like
boundaries
for
or
around something like you shouldn't do it for saying you shouldn't do this, that, and the other. I don't like the way you're doing this, and for not making them do certain things or certain behaviors. And I was like, they don't need to. Why did they need to?
yeah,
Why do I have to tell them not to do something if they're not hurt? Like, it's fine, but it's because the person telling me is like a boomer. And the way that they raise a Gen Xer, you know what I mean? And we were told not to do shit, shut the fuck up, right? And so the fact that I wasn't making my kids be small and unseen was like, I mean, it's not good for the kids to be. And I'm like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And I
yeah,
think
they've
a
got
lot
a
of Gen
voice.
Xers are like, yeah, yeah, they do, they do.
Yeah, yeah, we respect them as, yeah, people,
Human beings,
human as human beings. That's right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I think we went off.
yeah. We did a little. I was like going to try to loop it back to the kind of that just original programming that we got, and being open to outside criticism and being open.
Mhm.
You're just looking at things a different way, and I appreciate that. I appreciate. Um, Yeah, just some of that feedback around my kids. Like my instinct was to hover and helicopter parent a little bit
Mhm.
because I was like, I felt neglected. I felt like my parents, like, did they actually care what I was doing? So I did
Right.
the opposite, but it did kind of take I was so, it got to a point where it helped, like you said, outside forces. I had to take, in this case, I took someone else's, opinion. They're like, you're miserable. I'm trying to do too much for your kids and they're pushing you
Right.
away. They don't want you to do that much for them. They want to grow up and individuate. And so it felt scary to kind of let go and let them do that, let them grow up and take care of themselves. And I had to stand down. So I don't know. that's a one way of, yeah, taking some of that in and trying someone else's advice. And even though it didn't come naturally to me.
It's all about balance, I think,
Yeah.
It's like if you drink too much, then there's a problem. If you're someone who can drink a
Uh-huh.
little bit, then it's fine. If you helicopter your kids too hard, that's could be problematic. If you
Yes.
ignore them and throw them outside till dark, that's also
Right.
yeah, moderation is it's a hard thing for me to do,
Yep. Yep.
but I'm glad we got a chance to talk about self-care and all of the things. Working out,
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah. Yep.
It's been good. I've been
It's all part of
enjoying our
it, all
chat
part of the
today.
soup. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too, Lindsay. Thanks for having me back on your podcast. I love your podcast. I listen to every episode, and I just found you on YouTube, so I just subscribed. I'm now a subscriber.
Awesome.
I've been a subscriber. You know what I use Apple.
Spotify or Apple, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different subscription, correct? On YouTube. It's another.
It's basically the same ones. Occasionally, Mike and I have done ones that are just us chatting that are on there that aren't,
Okay.
but it's mostly so because people are starting to watch their podcasts. They want to see the
Uh-huh.
people who are doing the podcast talking. So, like, ours will be up there and they'll be able to see you and I.
Yeah.
The downside is that we use Riverside, which is a really good app, but it doesn't have any filters on the camera. You can't filter your
I
look.
know. I came on, I asked Lindsay, I'm like, is there a filter or something we could use? She's like, sorry.
All right, what you see is what you get on this
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
Trust me, I
that's
would
good.
love a filter. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's on YouTube. And so, listeners, if you want to see what people look like when they're talking, so I know for me, I like to kind of get a picture of what people are. And I think that's what's
Yeah.
happening now with podcasts. People go and they see what their podcaster looks like and what the guests look like. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
YouTube's
I've been
about.
doing that. I'm a big podcast listener. So I've actually been going over to YouTube and watching some of them. It's
Same.
really entertaining. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So please tell Mike I said hello. I'm sorry he couldn't join
Yeah.
us, but is
I,
he, and he's traveling for work, and he also has his marathon coming up, I think, at the
he
end of
has
this
his
month,
marathon.
right?
Yeah, it's coming
Uh-huh.
up. Yep, it's this month, and
Okay.
I think he's in like Idaho or something right now for work. So he's probably not as excited about going as he is about going to DC soon and
Oh, is he
running
going to DC? Oh, he's doing the DC.
Marine
Um,
Corps,
oh, the Marine
Marine Corps
Corps.
marathon. Yeah,
I love that. I've never done it, but when I first moved to DC, I'd go down there in Georgetown to the street corner and just like cry my eyes out watching
yeah,
everyone compete in that. It's so touching, so
hmm,
special. It's wonderful. He's doing that one.
yep,
Yes.
yes, and he's doing it. I think with some guys he was in Iraq with, so it's pretty
Oh,
special.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That'll feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And then we've got our half marathon New Year's Day.
That's right.
Yeah. And our tailgate party.
Super excited for that. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. And
Such a good
actually,
way to kick off the year.
yeah, I still need to sign up. I didn't sign up because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I had to cancel so much in my life when I wasn't feeling good, but I feel confident that I can sign up, and, we can always
Hike it.
hike it, or like go down to the 10K or
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
5K, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun having it
Whatever
on
gets
the
you
on
there
the
for the tailgate.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be there for the tailgate.
Whatever gets you there for the tailgate is all good.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
All right, folks. So we will say goodbye for now and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye.